Geronimo Stilton, Lost Treasure of the Emerald Eye. Late again, putrid cheese puffs. It was 9 o'clock. Now Geronimo Stilton was late for work again. I rolled out of bed, and in a minute I was dressed in two. Pretty fast considering I'm not really a morning mouse. Cheese slices. I hate Monday mornings, I grumbled while brushing my teeth with cheddar-flavored toothpaste. Then I hurried downstairs, stumbled over my tail, tumbled all the way down to the door. Thump, 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 thump. So much being quiet as a mouse. The streets of New Mouse City, the capital of Mouse Island, was as noisy as ever. Because everyone was laced just like me. Cheese delivery trucks are everywhere. Horns blasting, mice, rats, and rodents of every side on the trip raced by in cars, taxis, and mouse-driven sneakers. Taxi, I shouted, jumping into a cab. 17 Swiss Cheese Center. Minutes later, we pulled up to my editorial office. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you that I run a newspaper. It's called the Rodents Gazette. I took the stairs 2 at a time. I burst inside. What a workout! I was pooped. Maybe I shouldn't have cancelled my membership at Ratchet Lane after all. But before I could think about it, Marcella, my secretary, tackled. Mr. Stilton, finally! She cried, her glasses dangling off one ear. There's a crowd of rodents waiting to see the designers, the printers, the mouse who looks, the watercolor, and the editor-in-chief wants to speak with you immediately. I headed to my desk. Marcella followed. The coffee machine is jammed. She continued. Another mailroom must quit. And boss, don't forget you promised me a raise. My head felt like it was about to explode. Even my whiskers hurt. I wouldn't wish to stay on the meanest cat ever. Thea's secret. At lunchtime, my sister Thea, who's a special correspondent for the Rodents Gazette, came by on a motorcycle. I'm taking you out to lunch, she said. We got reservations at the mouse house. She grabbed my paw and whispered, I have to tell you a very important secret. 20 minutes later, I peeled myself off Thea's motorcycle. My teeth were still chattering. They're trying to give me a heart attack, I shrieked, tugging my whiskers back into shape. Why do you have to go so fast? It's dangerous. One day we're going to end up sipping cheese through straws at Mouse General. Still the same old Freddy Mouse. My sister laughed, slipping onto the restaurant. Of course, before we could sit down, they had to greet 50 friends. Hi, Ratty. How are you doing, Rosita? I rolled my eyes. They had more friends than a cheese delivery man before Thanksgiving. Finally, we were seated. So what is it? I asked impatiently. My sister was busy looking at the menu. Why don't we order first? She said, I don't cheddar ravioli for 2. She told the waiter with extra spicy tomato sauce. Spicy, I groaned. You know I get heartburn. Did I mention my sister can be incredibly annoying at times? Thea waved her paw. Oh, please, you could lose a little spice in your life. Besides, you have to get used to eating all sorts of food on our trip, she whispered, winking at me. Trip? What trip? I asked. Shh. You want everybody to know, she said, pinching my tail. Well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I hissed. Tia glanced around. Hold your whiskers. I think the waiter might be spying on us. Looks a little suspicious, I said. Who on earth will want to spy on us? I cried. My head started to pound. If you only knew, my sister replied, looking very mysterious. I clenched my fists. I couldn't take it anymore. I climbed onto my chair and screamed, What are you talking about? Everyone stared. Slimy Swiss balls. Someone got up on the wrong side of the hole today, said Thea, but she began talking anyway. Found a map of an island in the spot where treasure was buried, she squeaked. The Emerald Eye. From under the table, she pulled out a yellow piece of paper. Found it at the flea market, she continued. Oh, Jerrykins, you must come with me. This is a once-in-a-chance lifetime chance, she finished excitedly. First of all, don't call me Jerrykins. My name is Geronimo, I cried. Second, I'll be too busy at work. We're about to publish the next volumes of Rodent Rules for Dummies. And besides, who heard of an emerald eye? It's ridiculous. They grabbed my paw and stared into my eyes. But you're my big brother. You can let me go on my own, Jerry Berry, she squeaked in a sweetest voice. My sister could convince a cat to cook dinner for her. The name is Geronimo, I shouted. That night I drank about 10 cups of snooty some tea, listened to a sticky sound sleep tea, and counted grilled cheese sandwiches. Still, I didn't sleep one wink. Cheap junk for less. The next day, we went to the hot bath. So, Jerrykins, promise you'll come with me. You're not going to let me stay all on my own, insisted Thea. Don't call me Jerrykins, I cried. The name is Geronimo. Here's one thing you should know about my sister. When she gets an idea in her head, it sticks before like a mouse in a glue trap. Before I knew it, I promised to go with her on her ridiculous treasure hunting trip. As every respectable mouse knows, a rodent's promise is nothing to joke about. 2 Swiss beats, shouted Thea, breaking into a dance. Then Thea showed me a boat belonging to the old retired sea captain. With the color cheddar, extra sharp, my favorite. The ship's name seemed to be good thing too. Lucky Lady. My sister stayed at the ship. Then she winked at me. You know, 2 sailors are really not enough for this boat, she said. You know who could come with us? Trap, he said, is an expert sailor. Sailor, 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 sailor. The memories of my cousin Trap Stilton, also known as Pushy Paws, were not very good. When he was young, he had a real nightmare. Trap, I split but see, I don't remember when he tied my hair up in a knot. Until birds and fans were weak. What about that time he tied my whiskers with the purple fruit juice? As I said, my sister get an idea in her head. There's no stopping her. Minutes later, she stood in front of Trap's thrift shop. Cheap junk for less. The store window was dusty and full of odd stuff. A old yellowed photograph, a fake crystal that was supposed to ward off cats, a box of silver whisker colors, a super-powered bird eye. We went in. As the door opened, triggered a bunch of small brass bells hanging from the ceiling. Inside, a plumpish mouse with a short paws and a pencil tucked behind his ear, sat with his feet up on a comfy reclining chair, wore baggy blue pants and a pair of bright red suspenders. Trap leaped up and scurried towards them with surprising speed. Well, I'll be a master's uncle, he shouted, crushing my fondness. Like cream and cheese. So what's up? Want to buy something? Let me tell you right in front up front. No discount, not even relatives. Cash only, he shouted in our ears. Is there somewhere quiet we can talk? Asked Thea. Trap led us into a library filled with books on every subject. Cats, cheese. Cats who eat cheese and mice who love them. The air smelled musty if the windows hadn't been open, says Christopher Columbus discovered Mouse Island. All of a sudden we heard a horrifying sound. Meow! Dad and I leaped up in the air. Cat! We shrieked together. Crab rolled around on the floor in a fit of laughter. Ha ha, I sputtered. That's no cat, it's just a tape recording. It comes automatically as soon as someone enters the library. Pretty cute, don't you think? Adorable, squeaked Thea, rolling her eyes. Well, it does keep rat burgles away and slimy sewer rats, too, smirked Trap. I wonder if we'll take a painted on it. And I could just hear the wheels turning in this tiny mouse-sized brain. I could make a bundle, said Shiny. They turned back to us. So anyway, what are you two looking for? I don't have much time to shoot the cheese. I'm a very busy mouse, you know. He added with pride, puffing up his hair. Todd listened to Thea's plans with half-closed eyes. But I could tell he was interested because his tail started to twitch when she mentioned the emerald eye. Okay, I'll join you, he agreed. But anyone who dares lay upon my part of treasure is a rat. Twisted to a successful trip. Twisting our tails together, we squeaked. To our trip. Friends together, nice forever. Take me with you. On my way home, I started by to say hello to my favorite nephew, Benjamin, the cute little guy with tiny flappy ears. Uncle, read me a story, he cried when he saw me, so I sat down in the big comfy chair in the den. Ben loves stories. When he was younger, he was zonked out before I had a chance to finish my tale. That's why I dedicated my book Stilton's Cheesy Tales for Tiny Mice to him. To Ben, I wrote, you may stay awake long enough to finish this book. Today, I can't believe my little nephew is already 9 years old. I remember when he was just a squeaky little thing drinking cheese sauce from a baby bottle. You're going on a trip? Ben asked when he heard about my plans. Oh, please, please, please take me with you, Uncle. I can be your assistant. I can carry your notebooks. I can sharpen your pencils with my cat-tooth pencil sharpener. Sorry, Ben, I said, ruffling his fur. Maybe next time, when you're a little older. Then I laid my left paw on my heart and tugged on my whiskers with my left paw. This is a salute that we mice use on special occasions. It means that the hearts of two mice who love each other will be always stay connected. Anything missing? 15 pounds of extra sharp cheddar, 80 boxes of mac and cheese, 10 tubs of Swiss, 9 bags of mac and cheese chip unsalted. Next morning, I stood on the deck of the Lucky Lady, reading out a list of our supplies. What a mess! Trap filled the water tank, I instructed my cousin, but instead of filling the water tank, he poured the water into the fuel tank. What are you doing? I squeaked. I think you better lay out the extra sharp. It seems to be affecting your brain. I turned to my sister. Dear, run and get me the compass. I ordered down to the boat's mast and beyond. I asked to see the owner, Squeaky LaRue, also known as the Squeak. He's a friend of mine, so he should give you a discount. You can't miss him. He's a tall, thin, gray mouse. The tail's so furry, you can use it to dust every room in your muscle. Just then I noticed Trap talking to the young shipwright on the boat next to ours. That's right, my young rat friend. He whispered, don't tell him no. We're looking for something, but I can't tell you what. Begins with T and ends with E. That's right, it's on an island. I guess a cat and a mouse competition leaped up and yanked Trapped away by the tail. Are you going to blurt out the whole story about the treasure? I hissed. Trap gave me an innocent smile. Did I mention a treasure? There are lots of words that begin with T and end with E, you know. Telephone, for example. Or about tic-tac-toe. I banged my head against the side of the ship. By 6 o'clock that night, I finished loading. I rushed to the Rat Authority, the best store in town for sporting goods. Can you help me, please? I said to Scratchy Mouse who owned the place. I want to get everything I will need for a long sea voyage. I'm in a big rush, so if you could hurry, we'll take you to the cat first. If it isn't Geronimo Stilton, get it straight from us. Scratch. What an honor. They're going to drive everything in the entire store. My head was spinning. Those 10 years of waterful underwear, a fluffy cheddar-colored straw that squeaked if you stay down. Sounds along in a life wrap shaped like a slice of cheese on a 5-foot long crack. I also need a suitcase, I said to Scratch, or better yet, a big trunk. I just got the thing for a sharp mouse like you, Mr. Stilton, he remarked, his eyes gleaming. Follow me. He led me back of the store, where he unlocked the door to a small room. Then, like the famous magician, Harry Ratney lifted a silk cloth with bush. There stood a trunk as tall as a circus man on stilts. It was covered with bright yellow leather that glowed in the dark. It was as wide as the giant from Rat and the Beanstalk, as long as the line for cheese dinners at the bakery on Sunday morning. Isn't it a beauty? I scratched, nodded carefully, and lifted the lid. Holy cheese! You can fit a sumo mouse inside. I spotted several coat hangers made of cheesecloth, a whole shelf just for hats. There was a shiny cactus comb, a wire brush for tusked whiskers. The trunk also had a space for office supplies, paper, pens, paperweights, tiny secret compartment, you name it. I'll take it, I squeaked. I knew you would really like it, Mr. Stilton. This is the real deal, he beamed, running his father with the trunk. It's just a thing of interest young man such as yourself, which you could take me along. I'm Geronimo Stilton. He'll sail out to high seas, I thought. I had a nice ring to do. I just might enjoy this trip after all. West on at sea. The cool breeze in off the sea. The salty smell of seaweed. I was starting to get into the sailing thing. It was so relaxing. Sort of like sitting in great grandma Hangover's rocking chair. See the tiler of the lucky lady in my thoughts. I stared out at the ocean waves. Stared out of it. It was dawn, and the sun was just coming up, pale as a slice of Swiss cheese. We had just left the harbor, but I felt as if I had been sailing all my life. I was wearing a bright yellow windbreaker jacket with matching yellow pants and a new yellow hat. Can you guess what my favorite color is? Yep, there's nothing like a little yellow to cheer up a mouse. It's the most popular color in our island. There are yellow cars, yellow schools, and yellow airplanes. And when you're in Santa's, wear a yellow suit instead of a red one. My nephew Ben wasn't too crazy about that, though. I smiled. I must Ben so much. Funny how a small mouse could give you such a big heartache. My daydreams were interrupted by Trap. He was munching on a bag of nacho cheese chips. Hey there, cousin, he squeaked with his mouth full. Want some? Be careful, everyone. Don't get any grease on the deck. You're such a worry, Mother, laying his greasy paw right on the deck. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. Just renew my chart, I said. I need to see your own course for Treasure Island. Hey, no problemo, my little cousin, squeaked Trap, waving lightly at me. He did a little dance. Look out, I shrieked. I almost stepped on my glasses. I broke to cold sweat. Without my glasses, I couldn't tell the difference between a slice of mozzarella and a hunk of cheddar. Why, oh, why had they brought them along? It was evening, and the red sun sat on the ocean like a cherry on top of a piece of cheesecake. Up in the sky, white fluffy clouds, whipped cream floated around. What a delicious view, I sighed. But just as I was beginning to enjoy it, I heard a mouse scream. Yowie! That rodent still was trying to tell me. It was my cousin's voice. Thea and I rushed to help him. What happened? What is it? We squeaked together. Trap was leaning around one paw. This rhinoceros keeps jumping up and down like a teenage mouse. The wild whiskers concept, shrieked my cousin, massaging his toe. I burned my paw with a clam sauce. He slumped into the pallet oven to check his toe. Maybe you can sit at the table at least, Trap continued. While you've been up on the deck enjoying the fresh air, I've been busting my tail down here. Closed his eyes and yawned. Must I do everything? I get the clam sauce a good sniff. That's the I mixed it into the pasta. Now I know why in the medieval times they poured the boiling oil on their enemies from the castle walls, whined my cousin. He cradled his blonde paw protectively. Why, Trap? I didn't know you were so cultured, I remarked, filling my plate. My cousin smirked. What culture? I got from a cartoon on TV, I scoffed. You can find everything on TV, you know. Yes, of course you can, I answered absentmindedly. I was sniffing at the sauce again. Are you sure these clams are fresh? What do you mean fresh? Of course they're fresh, Trap insisted. Cross my heart. It's just like they smell sort of like a skunk at the cheap perfume counter, I offered. My cousin jumped off the sofa. Are you calling me a liar? He shouted. I told you they were fresh as fresh can be. If you don't believe me, fine. I guess you're just enjoying hurting my feelings. He grabbed a slice of bread and headed for the stairs. It's my turn to stay and watch, he chirped, racing away. I hesitated for a moment. Then I began to eat very slowly for a moment. Then began to eat very slowly. I don't think I have any plans after all. I lost my appetite, said Trap, leaving some bread and cheese. 2 o'clock that morning, I woke up so horrible. Got my dish. Dashed to the bathroom, my glasses dangling on my snout. Seconds later, I tripped over the bath mat, banged my snout on the medicine cabinet, and plopped onto the toilet. Suddenly, I had a horrible thought. Could it be the clams that made me sick? Just then the bathroom door opened wide. The cat was asleep. Trap peered into the bathroom, then he covered his nose with both paws. What are you up to? Building some kind of stink bomb? He coughed. Yeah, opening up all the noise. Joined us. She sized up the situation in an instant. Spit out the truth, Trap, demanded my sister. Where did you really buy those clams? Cousin was silent. Stared down at the carpet. Well, I bought them in the department at the frozen food counter, I hissed with a guilty look. Frozen? I squeaked, but you told me they were fresh clams. Trap stood up straight. Well, yes, of course they were fresh. At one time, the frozen clams were a special offer. Mouse sold them to me last month, so did you eat that same day or they would spoil, but of course I didn't take them seriously. You know, these sales mice, they always tend to exaggerate. We trapped. Grrr! Sales mice, my paw, I cried. You realize you could have killed me with that poison? You should get a job as a chef at the cafeteria for cats. I tried to grab him, but I ended up stumbling over a roll of toilet paper instead. Oh, why have we brought him along? Mystery on board. At dawn on the 16th day of sailing, we were almost halfway to Treasure Island. After my watch, I went down to the galley and stored all of our food. That's when I discovered breadcrumbs on the floor. Strange. Very strange, I thought. The trail of crumbs led to a barrel full of apples. I lifted the barrel's lid. Inside, I found 5 chewed-up apple cores. Did we have a stowaway on board? I decided not to say anything to the others. Not yet, anyway. If I was wrong, they would make fun of me for the rest of the trip. The next night, when everyone was asleep, I sprinkled some baby powder in front of the kitchen door, then tied a piece of thread to the doorknob. Well, the next morning, I went down to check. Just as I thought, the thread had been broken. Yes. Yep, it sure looked like someone had been sticking the paws in the old cheese bit jar. Then there was paw prints. The powder. How odd. They were very, very small. Could they belong to dwarf mouse? Said tried to do something before the little thing ate us out of the hospital and home. By that, I slept with my lucky baseball bat by my side. It was a present from Slugrat Jones, also known as Sluggy, an old rat friend of mine who plays professional baseball. If that story came after me, I'd be ready for it. It was 1 o'clock in the morning when I finally heard a creaking sound coming from the kitchen. Put on my glasses. Then I grabbed a flashlight with my right paw and a barrel with my left. When I got downstairs, the sticky thief was opening the fridge. Tipped it towards him and switched on the light. Aha! I cried, ready to strike. Then my mouth dropped open. It was my nephew, Benjamin, happily munching on a cheesy chew. Hello, Uncle. He squeaked, flinging his paws around my neck, kissed me on the tip of my snout. But aren't you glad to see me? But why, but how, but when? I mean, what are you doing here? I stammered. Promise to make myself useful, he cried. I'll swivel the deck for you. Hold and stack your hat. They do know I'm a champion stacker. I got an A+ in stacking at Little Tales Academy when I was in kindergarten. I'll be your secretary, too. When I go back, you can write a wonderful book. There's only one thing to do. I gave him a giant mouse hug. I love you very much, Benjamin said, and I'm very glad you are here. Mouse overboard! It was 11 o'clock at night. I was standing watch at the helm. Everything all right, Geronimo Meister? Asked Thea. It would be even better when you didn't call me Geronimo Meister, I squeaked. It was getting colder. Was the weather going to change? Then I lifted my snout to look at the clouds. But just then the boat tipped and the boom hit me on the back. Where you can say, green cheese, rye, hold the tomato is knocked overboard. I don't even have a chance to squeak. The boat sailed away from me. I floundered in the waves. Fortunately, they had seen me go over. Mouse overboard! She shrieked. Immediately, all the lights came on. The lucky lady turned toward me. Cat switched on and surged. Help over here! I cried, waving my paws. Waves were throwing me up and down like a ratty Andal in close dryer. Cold water seeped into my fur. My teeth began to chatter so loud they would bounce right out of my mouth. There he is! I heard someone shout. Suddenly I was flooded with light. That spotted me when he was throwing me a line, but I couldn't catch it. I felt a strong paw grab me by the ears. It was trapped. Come on, cousin, grab hold of my pail, he screamed, drawing me back to the lucky lady. Then he lowered the rope ladder. Flat, I spat out a spray of water and opened my eyes. Travis jumping up and down on my stomach. He's alive! He's alive! Cried my cousin. My ears were blue from the cold. Thea was holding my paw. Tears shone in her eyes. Uncle Trap, you really are a hero, Len exclaimed. Really, Trap? We don't know how to thank you, Thea added gratefully. Trap was blushing. Oh, it's nothing, Ratlings, just another day for me. Don't mention it, she shrugs. He strode away, whistling the theme song from his favorite TV show, X-Mouse. What a character. Trap pretends to be tough, but is really a total softie. In fact, I'd say he's just soft as my Aunt Ratilla's homemade cream cheese. On the morning of our 32nd day of sailing, woke up with a start. Wake up, Jerkins! Thea shouted in my ear. There's a storm out there. Still half asleep, I slipped on my coat and followed Thea up to the deck. The sky in the east was dark with big black clouds. Go and lower the sails, Thea. Don't wait a minute. Leave the smallest one up. That way the boat will hold the seas better. I said, because sailing wasn't such an easy thing after all. I'd better get Trap, I told my sister. He's a true sailor. He'll know what to do. I left Thea at the helm and went below to search for my cousin. The boat was being tossed about by the churning waves, which kept growing bigger and bigger. I opened the door to Trap's cabin. My cousin was huddled up in his bunk under the covers. Trap, the lucky lady is taking on water. We don't know what to do, I shouted, shaking him. I don't know either, he mumbled, rolling his eyes. But, I sputtered, tossing my hat on his bed. I thought you knew everything about the sea. Didn't you say you were a captain of the ship? In answer to the question, my cousin sat up and threw up right into my hat. Holy trees, I screamed, leaping away from my bed, fell against Jack's closet. Look, fella, I stared at the title. Learn how to sail in 800 easy lessons. A horrible feeling gripped me, like a mousetrap in a fully stocked kitchen. Grabbed the book. A bookmark was stuck at page 11. Lesson number 3. Sails come in many different colors. They tried to pick one that will make you smile. Smile? I choked. You'd be lucky if you can still eat soft cheeses when I'm through with you, I screamed at Trap. I crawled back under the covers. I'll deal with you later, I called as I rushed back outside. Waves as high as Mount Everest were pounding onto the deck. Each time the bow, the ship hit a wave, the boat sank lower. Then it would pop up again. This time tilted in the other direction. Trap wasn't the only one feeling seasick. I lurched over to my sister and gave her the bad news about our sail arrest. Seriously, Talon's cousin. A minute she looked as if she'd a cat, but she quickly got a grip. Who needs him anyway? She squeaked, putting her tail over her shoulder. What a mouse, that's it from a first-rate rodent for sure. The wind was getting stronger and stronger. Its high-pitched whistle could have helped every dog in the world. Moldy mozzarella, this is no storm, this is a hurricane, I thought, nervously tugging the fur on top of my head. We're rotten luck to be caught by the storm just now. We had only 2 or 3 days before we could hit Treasure Islands. Each time the boat rocked, I could hear my sister cousin moaning down his cabin. Serves him right, I thought. Seems Trap had accidentally forgotten to mention he was never a captain of a ship. He was a cook. Night came. Things got even worse. We couldn't even make out the direction of the waves in the dark. The lucky lady rocked back and forth like my Uncle Nibbles dancing a family wedding. We're soaked through the sea on tall sails. Dawn came and the sea was still raging. Suddenly disaster struck. A gust of wind tore down the mast. The lucky lady tilted on its side. The water began to flood in. We were sinking. The truth of many wonders. I found myself adrift in the icy sea. It thrashed about for a long time, spitting out salty water. Once the side waves kept me rolling me around. Felt like I was stuck in a rinseless cycle of a giant washing machine. So I caught sight of a furry, a little gray flabby thing. Benjamin, I cried, grabbing him by his tail. It's my magic. The wind stopped. I looked around. The lucky lady had vanished without a trace. We needed something to hold on to, and then we saw it. Well, happy birthday to me and to Benjamin, of course. It was my trunk. I grabbed it with all my might. Safe, we are safe. Standing upright on the trunk, I scanned the horizon for Thea and Trap, not a head or tail, and said, by afternoon, I was beginning to lose hope. But I spied 2 very small spots. My heart beat so fast, even her did not see what all the fuss was about. Yeah. on my lungs. My sister and cousin all like paddle out past rain. Take hold of my tail, I shouted as I dragged them in. I really thought it was the enemy cousin had trapped collapsing onto the trunk. Tail wrapped her tail around mine. Big brother, I'm so glad you're okay, she said. I hugged her tight. Tears rolled down Thea's wet, furry face. Crab was crying too, for different reasons. The emerald eye, he thought, will never find in there, said the mouth. I glanced at my sister. For some reason, she was grinning. Did someone say ma'am? She looked upon her, squinted, and came out crumpled. Oh, ma'am, want your teeth? She chumps. He was trying to do it like he just wanted to take it to the Superman's bowl. Ray, 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 Ray. Ray, 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 hooray, hooray, hooray! Mr. Benjamin opened his eyes. What are you doing, my little mousie? I asked him. Uncle, is it you? Uncle Geronimo? He murmured. Yes, it's my dear little Benjamin. It's me, I whispered warmly. Everything is going to be all right now, you'll see. Goodbye, silk pajamas. I tried to review the situation. According to my calculation, we should be right near Treasure Island, she said. We should put into a black and white dot in the sky. A pelican. That means we're really close. Mr. Trout gave a loud shriek. I jumped. What is it? Do you think you always have to shout like that? I complained. I got an idea, he squeaked in my ear. Then he grabbed the trout's handle, trying to lift the lid. What are you doing? You want to throw us back? All back in the water, I protested. Trout was begging and waving his arms around into here. Or are you flapping your arms? I shouted at him. Are you going to tell us we can fly now too? Trout kept waving excitedly. Pajamas, belt, blue stripes, he cried. And he managed to rip the comfy blue and white striped pajamas out of the trunk. Then he tore them into two pieces. I really am a genius. I'm so clever. Frightened me at times. My cousin giggled. It was beginning to sound like a rat who'd eaten too many slices of American cheese. We'll just use this rag to make a sail. Rag? You call this a rag? I screamed. These are my silk pajamas with silver buttons. They cost me a fortune. What's it? They have the initials embroidered in gold. Well, isn't that just like you to be so selfish? Trap said. We're talking about a treasure here. You're worried about your pajamas. Geronimo, you amaze me. I dashed my teeth together. Don't call me Geronimo. My name is Geronimo. Geronimo! Got it? There was nothing left to do but rig up Trap's pajama sail and take off. We're all terribly dead. My tongue feels like it got stuck in the sandbox at Scampertown Park, mumbled Trap. I could give anything for some ice cream. Do you remember that ice cream powered the icy west? The air conditioner in that place was always on full blast. It would feed your bird just waiting for the hot cheese someday. Split trip for myself. Wondered how I had to go talk on about ice cream and stuff of being the cherry cheese, sugar clothes, floating underwater. Next morning, a hail opened that shook the sky and licked my snout, and it was covered with drops of water. The rain was pelting the ghetto shut. I swallowed the drops that fell on my tongue. It was in mouse heaven. The Trap danced the parlor. Then, as it has come, the rain stopped. We hugged and winded our tails together and whispered, friends together, mice forever. And at sunrise on the 8th day of our pajama sailing adventure, instruments squeaking, Lando! Stirred at the land emerging from the waves. It got closer and closer. The sea followed beneath us like an emerald green cap. Ben was the first one to reach the island. The beach was covered with fine white sand. When my cousin landed, he walked on his belly and kissed the ground. Then he turned towards us, snout covered in sand. Looked like he'd just eaten a donut. Flatlings, he said, someone is going to unglue me from this spot. No, I'm a land mouse, not a sea mouse, and I'm proud of it. Emerald green, deep green water, green grass, green trees. Treasure Island will be the perfect place for St. Peter's Day party. The whole place looks like nature colored it with a magical green paintbrush. We dragged the trunk onto the beach and began to explore the island. We worked hard to cut a path through the thick plants and shrubs. We struggled over gigantic rocks covered in slippery moss. Then we tried to follow the line of leafy green palm trees. It was tough going. We had been hiking for about 10 minutes when we heard a noise. It sounded like running water. No, not just plain old water. Running water and you fill up a bathtub without running water. Turned the corner and it was a beautiful waterfall. We rushed down to the top of the cliff into the lake, crystal clear water. On the other side of the waterfall stood a tree so tall the clouds had to step aside to make room for it. The enormous roots clung to the rocks like a cat with a tuna sandwich. The island was thick with fruit-bearing trees. Bananas, mangoes, and payapas hung over our heads. For a minute I felt I was strolling to the supermarket. I picked some fruit and took it back to my friends. Benjamin shrieked with joy. He hurled himself onto a big slice of papaya. Jerry has brought us lunch, said a kid jumping out of the water. Hooray, way to go, Geronimo! I'm starved, squeaked trapped Geronimo. Geronimo! How many times do I have to say it? Unless I told you 100 times. My name is Geronimo! Why do I always have to repeat it? Line up. That night we slept in the tree on the other side of the waterfall. We lay in the hollow where two branches joined. Our backs were pressed together for support. Still, I didn't sleep a wink. I was too afraid of falling out of the tree. Next morning, we all gathered for a meeting. We had to decide who will be in charge on the island. We vote by a show of paws. I said, of course, Trav voted for himself. Thea voted for me, and Benjamin and I gave our votes for Thea. My sister cleared her throat. Friends, I want to know you won't regret your choice, she said, wiping away a small tear again. Line up now, she shouted. I will begin by assigning your duties. At noon you will report to me, and you will be on time. When I say noon, I mean noon. Not 1 minute before, not a minute later. Is that quite clear? I don't hear you. She's already got a swollen head. I knew I was going to vote for myself, muttered trapped under his whiskers. Thea was walking up and down the beach. We shall build a shelter under the tree. It would take us 2 or 3 days to finish it. Then we'll leave in search of the Emerald Eye. Trap's eyes lit up again. The treasure. Now you're talking, he grinned. In the meantime, Thea grabbed a sheet of paper and was scribbling down tasks for all of us. Geronimo, you will take care of provisions. We'll gather fruit, berries, and roots. And also fish for crabs. Crab, you will be the head chief. Excellent choice, Bah. Just wait to see what tasty dishes I can prepare. Risky looking good, said my cousin cheerfully. Benjamin, you will help me build our shelter under the tree, Thea continued, without a missing beat. Now let's get going. Friends together, mice forever. From my diary, dear diary, I'm writing on this banana leaf because there's no paper left. Took us 3 days to build our hut under the big tree. What a project! Now let's pitch in with Thea squeaking out orders like the Army General. I think she's getting a little too into a job leader. But that's just between you and me, diary. I don't want to end up in the bathroom duty, or worse. Speaking of bathroom, we built one in our hut. Remember the giant wooden wheel to run the water up from the stream. Of course, Thea and Trap are forever fighting over who gets to use the bathroom first. In fact, I can hear them screaming right now. Everything is different on the islands, but those two never change. Goodbye, dear diary. I had to rush to the kitchen Tonight it's my turn to wash the dishes. Yours, Geronimo. P.S. I realized that an adventure later is definitely not my cup of tea. Oh, how I miss my comfy, safe home. Cheese slices. That night, just stayed up very late. I wondered what my sister ate up her sleeve this time. You just never know with that mouse. Early next morning, while we were having breakfast, Thea arrived, out of breath. Hooray, I did it! She cried, waving the bat. Trap jumped. Do you have to scream so early in the morning? She shouted. You know I'm not awake until I have my cup of steamed cheese, 2 scoops of salted milk. Now what's it? Thea jumped under the table and cleared it to the road. I discovered. She began. Drum roll, please. What? Shouted Trap, grabbing her by the tail. Thea sharp have a smoke smell. First, I discovered our position in the astropole. Then I checked it with a triangulation, worked it with the logarithm. Astrolam, strangleism, hungerism. Snorted Trap. You mind speaking English? I hate it when you use such big words. My sister pointed to the map. First, we have to head north toward Moorwater Bay. Then we go to the Wasta Point Peak and head toward Molehill Mountain. Then we'll find a clear deliver water. We'll follow the river to hard Nails Hill. From this, we should be easy as pie to spot the emerald eye. At the mention of the world emerald, Trap put his arm around Thea. Oh, my little cousin, let me the first to congratulate you, he began. Did anyone tell you that you're a real genius? What did you do to treasure is exactly? Yes, snorted. What's the matter with you? Are your eyes covered with cheese slices? Look here at the map, she squeaked, flapping it under Trap's snout. There's an X on it as big as the moon over Mouse Island. Trap just smiled and stroked Thea's top. The dear, sweet, kind, and beautiful, charming little cousin, he said. I suggest we leave tomorrow morning. No, maybe tonight. As a matter of fact, I could ready to leave right now. Wait a minute. I jumped in. You have to map up our route, calculate the time, and the stages of our trip. Trap was getting more and more frantic. What times? What stages? The sly mouse had already organized everything. We're leaving and that's that, he squeaked. Then he and Thea put our heads together and began discussing the details of their journey. Of all the nerve, I seemed as if I was already left out. Meanwhile, my nephew sat munching on the last cheesy chew with a dreamy expression on his face. It's a real honest-to-good mouse treasure, he murmured. 1 skull. The plan was to leave at 6 o'clock by the next morning, but by 4 o'clock, my cousin was already up and about. Raccoons, we're leaving, Trap shouted through a megaphone made of banana leaves. Thea grabbed a coconut and hurled it at his head. You realize what time it is? She shrieked, chasing me around our shelter. When I catch you, I'm going to use your fur to make your mouth. Trap just giggled. If you don't hurry, I'm going to leave without you, she shouted through the megaphone. Ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rumble, ready to party, ready to go, go, go. Thea was staring at her whiskers in a rage. You are the only one who brought him along, she yelled at me. I wanted to say, actually, it was your idea. And I stopped myself. The looks in my sister's eyes were murderous. We set out in single file. We marched all the way along. By evening, we came to What's the Point Peak. Thea pointed at the map. We reached the location of the first skull. Listen to this secret message. If you find a big rock the color of cheese, don't run around. Don't even sneeze. Some more puddles. I looked around. This must be the rock on the map, I said, pointing to a round cheddar-colored boulder. It looks good enough to eat. I took a few steps forward, but there's nothing to see here. Just some sand, actually a whole bunch of sand. I didn't get to finish my sentence. I was beginning to sink. Look at me, I giggled. Hee hee hee. Look at the sand has reached my ankles. No, my knees. His eyes opened wide. She was not laughing. Geronimo, I have bad news for you, she called. What bad news? I asked, watching the funny sound. Geronimo, my sister squeaked. I think that's quicksand. I gulped. Thundering cattails, quicksand! I shrieked. Help! The sand had already reached my belly button. Stop flapping your arms, shouted Thea, holding out her paw out. But I kept flapping and flapping. Help! I shouted as the sand reached my ears. Trap raced over by carrying a long green vine from a nearby tree. Grab hold of this, cousin. If you ever want to squeak again, he cried. Once again, Trap has saved my life. Why, oh, why did I have to agree to take this trip? I must be losing my marbles. When I get back to New Mile City, my fur will have turned white from all these scares. I mumbled. If we ever get back, that is, added Trap in a grim voice. He always knew how to cheer me up. The next morning, we crossed Mole Hill Mountain and marched along the banks of the Fur River. Finally, we sighted Hard as Nails Hill. This is it, announced the place of the two skulls. I shivered. What could we find this time? Two skulls. More quicksand? Exploding boulders? Grouchy Grandma, one whisker with a plate of disgusting cheese muffins, looked around. We were in a clearing with one very tall tree standing in the center. It was loaded with big yellow fruit that looked like like pineapples. Thea read aloud the secret message about the two skulls. Beware of the honey tree. Its fruits are known to sing. Listen, but do not touch, or you will feel the sting. Trap stepped forward. Fruit said, seeing how ridiculous. Let me take one of them raccoons. I'll knock one down with a stone, and then we'll see. Stop! Don't do it! I shrieked. Don't worry, raccoons, my cousin laughed. So what did they sing? Just about touching them, see? He pitched a stone right at the base root and said, Don't call me Jerry, I started to say, but I stopped in mid-sentence. The little fruit wasn't a giant pineapple, and never fruit, a giant beehive. Help! We screamed together. The beehive was oozing with thick golden honey. Within seconds, swarms of bees flew down from the honeycombs hanging onto the branches. Hurry to the river, shouted my sister. We raced to the river with the bees on our tails. Then we dove headfirst into water. The current carried us downstream. When we reached the bank, the bees were gone. Thea pulled out her map. Let's see. Trail left as Hard as Nails Hill. In front of us is Pirate's Peak. That means if we go forward, we'll hit the three skulls. In front of us, the narrow path made of stones. The stone had a letter engraved on it. Thea read aloud the message on the map. Dangerous trap lays ahead. Be oh so careful while you tread. Solve this riddle and you will see. The right stones will set you free. For lunch on a snack, it is delicious. With lots of holes, it's quite nutritious. White or yellow, sharp or mellow. Leave some for others. Be a good fellow. I reread it several times. My cousin tapped his paw impatiently. Well, Mr. Newspaper Mouse, work with your words. What does it mean? He asked. His paws kept tapping faster and faster. Well, come on. What are you waiting for? We don't have all day, you know. Trying to ignore my cousin, I started at the riddle. The answer was right on top of my tongue. What has lots of holes? What is white or yellow and delicious? Suddenly, I clapped my paws together. It's cheese, I shrieked with glee. You must jump on the letter spelling the word cheese. Before we could stop him, Dad hopped on the stone engraved with the letter C. Then he hopped onto H, then the E, and then S. Look out! The rest of us screamed. Spelling has never been one of my cousin's strong points. Of course, there are two E's in the middle of cheese. The minute Trap set his paw on the wrong stone, it gave way, and down he went. I peered into a hole. It was a foul-smelling A door rose from it. Wait a minute, I could just make out something at the bottom. I was looking at a bunch of bones. Poor Trap. Poor Uncle Trap, sobbed Benjamin. Poor cousin, we don't be able to visit his grave, murmured Thea, wiping away a tear. It was such a great mouse. It was such a... Do you remember when I saved your life at sea, Uncle? Cried Benjamin. Even I felt terrible. How could I ever forget? I moaned. Trap saved my life not once but twice. The first time at sea and the second time from the quicksand. It was so gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. Yeah, softly. Well, let's be honest. Sometimes it could be a bit of a pain. Benjamin jumped right in. Actually, now that I think of it, poor Uncle Chuck could be pretty annoying. I stood up and dusted dirt off my paws. But I think it was totally obnoxious at times. A pain, annoying, obnoxious, a voice called down from the hole and peered into the dead pit. Trap was hanging by his pants from a tree root. Hang on, Trap, we're coming. To the rescue, I called. Lifted him out in no time. Trap looked a little pale. Still, he sounded just like irritating as ever. You know, now, I heard the bad things you said about me, he said. Then he smiled. But I guess you said some nice things too. Especially you, Jerry. In fact, Geronimo, I could give you a kiss. Hey, that's really good, he giggled. Hee hee. I groaned. Why, oh, why have we pulled him out of that hole? Gold doubloons? We started hiking towards the X again. Turned to Thea's map. We had almost reached the Emerald Eye. Trap particularly skipped the rest of the way. I'd never seen him so excited. Well, there was that time he won a free cheeseburger at Burger Mouse. Trap's voice interrupted my thoughts. Hey, Cousin Kenneth, do you think we'll find other things besides the Emerald Eye? I mean, if you're expert on this stuff, right? We could find those other fine jewels or a lot of stuff money. Well, we could find some old coins, I answered. Maybe we might find gold doubloons. They have a picture of the cat prince, Meow Ironclaw, also known as Snarls, the mouse monster on them. Trap did a little dance. Doubloons, doubloons, gold doubloons. I just love the sound of that word, he chuckled. Meanwhile, Thea was tracking the map. She pointed straight ahead. That's it, she announced. The Emerald Eye should be right in front of us. Trap ran ahead, then he stopped. He looked around, confused. I don't see any emerald here. All I see is water, he squeaked. For once, my cousin was telling the truth. On the exact spot where we were supposed to find an Emerald Eye, where there was a deep lake. Astrolamp, strangleism, congrism, snorted Trump furiously. But this is exactly where the X is on my map, Thea murmured. Is this the right place? It is the right place, and we're on the wrong island, and it's all your fault, Trap cried, chasing after Thea. I sighed my head between my paws. Benjamin sat beside me, looking sad. Just then I heard leaves rustling. The sound was coming from the forest nearby. Shh! Keep quiet, everyone, I whispered. Something back here is moving. We all strained our ears to listen. Something or someone, whispered Trap in a shaky voice, looked at us. Let's see. Who can go check this out? Ben is too young. Thea can help because she's a female, and it's only right that I begin to look after those two. So that only leaves you, Geronimo. Better get going, he concluded, pushing me towards the bush where the noises were coming from. That one went through Thea's frown action. Just because I'm female doesn't mean I can't take care of things. She shrieked. She grabbed her knife with two claws and charged towards the bushes. Show yourself if you dare, she squeaked. Moving aside a few leaves, little Benjamin trembled beside me. Trap whimpered. My talking sister was shaking. I chewed on my whiskers. I imagined a pack of ferocious wild tomcats or maybe lions on the other side of the bushes. So this is how it will end. We will all become snacks for mouse-munching monsters. All of our sailing, swimming, and hiking, sweating for nothing. It was almost too much to bear. I closed my eyes when I opened them again. It's not a strange sight. For us, a group of animals. No, not a band of drooling tomcats, not a pack of roaring lions. This is a party of mice. They were dressed in bathing suits, some had cameras and camcorder. some of them I stepped forward. "Hello, are you guests from the resort?" she asked. "Resort? What resort?" we all squeaked at the same time. Ratton's tropical resort at Hell Spa, of course," Mom said, giving us a strange look. For a moment, I snapped. For a moment, I thought I was just having a bad dream. I pinched myself. The mice in the bathing suits were still standing there. The last trap spoke. "Ratlin's tropical resort," he repeated. "You mean this is not a deserted island?" I looked at us with curiosity. "Deserted island? You should see the mounds of rodents on the beach," she said. "This is our busiest time of the year." Trap turned to Thea, fuming. "This is bad enough. You have brought me to the wrong island. But do you think you have to bring me to a tourist trap?" I couldn't believe that. I felt a lump despair in our throat, like a mouse being served at a grand cat buffet. Meanwhile, the tourists were staring at us in amazement with our ratty fur and torn clothing. They didn't know what to make of us. Shy-looking mouse with big ears perched there. "Miss, did you just take one of Ratlin's survival classes?" She asked. Thea stared at her. For a minute, she looked like a mouse caught by a flashlight. Then Thea snapped into attention. "Survival lessons?" she repeated. "Why, do I look like a rodent who needs lessons? Take a look at this knife. I can chop a rat's tail in two, faster than you can twitch your whiskers." Snap, snap. She cut a tree branch in two with one clean blow. Her audience shuddered, hypnotized. "Can I walk you back to the resort?" The nurse with the big ears asked my sister. "I would love to take you dinner tonight. I know a great little restaurant right on the beach." "We'll see, my dear. We'll see," squeaked Thea, flattered. She shook my head. Benjamin and I sat down at the resort. Tab just stared off into space. "The treasure," he repeated over and over. "The treasure." Fasten your seatbelts. After listening to our amazing adventures, the manager of Rattling's resort got us 4 first-class seats on the first flight back to New Mile City. Well, actually 3 seats, since Thea had decided to stay a few more days. "He's such a dear," Thea shrieked about her new big ear friend. "I have never met such charming mouse. He adores me, and he's so romantic. Geronimo, why don't you stay for a little longer, too? I want to go home. I just want to go home," I kept telling her. The time to leave finally came. "Now boarding," blasted the loudspeaker at the airport. We climbed into the plane. "All rodents, please fasten your seat belts," the pilot requested. A pretty flight attendant with dark brown fur walked down the aisle, passing out slices of tasty Swiss cheese. "Have fun on your vacation?" asked the mouse sitting next to me. Fun wouldn't exactly be my first word to describe it, I thought. How about disaster or nightmare? But I nodded anyway. "Fun," I grumbled. "Loads of fun." Trap was back to his usual self, rather than flittering with the flight attendant. He told her he was an expert sailor. Then he began telling her about our adventure. I missed most of the details, but I was too busy to look at the view outside the window. It was the first time I'd seen the island from above. It was quite a sight. Right in the middle of the island was a lake as green as an emerald. Of course, the lake was exactly where the treasure was supposed to be on Thea's map. Now that was out from the sky. Like, just looked like an emerald eye. No green eye. Emerald? Holy cheese, I shrieked excitedly. Benjamin, sound asleep, woke up with a squeak. "Look!" I shouted, pulling Trap's tail. I jumped off my seat and put it out the window. "It's the emerald eye!" I shrieked. A frail white-haired waved her book at me. "Shh," she said, glaring. The passengers threw me dirty looks. Well, I guess I've been winning the most popular passenger award. "So that is the treasure shown on the map," I cried, ignoring my newfound enemies. My cousin just snorted. "Jerry boy, To me, a treasure is something you can spend. All you can do with that treasure is wash your socks in. I sighed, sinking back into my seat. The shimmering green lake in the middle of the island moved farther and farther away. Benjamin laid his tiny head on my shoulder. I think the emerald eye is a wonderful treasure, Uncle, he said. It's the most beautiful treasure I've ever seen. Mega huge fridge. Clean sheets, a hot shower, and my mega huge fridge stuffed with the best cheeses a mouse can buy. It was so nice to be home again. Today I bumped into Trap. You have such a way with words. Why don't you slap together an adventure story about a treasure hunt? He suggested. Are you kidding? I'm a busy mouse. I wrote a newspaper. It's unthinkable. It's impossible. It's ridiculous, I replied. That evening, though, I leafed through my travel diary. There's much to write about. What an adventure. Maybe for once Trap had come up with a good idea. Tennis Top Club. 6 months had gone by since the day we returned from our trip. I followed Trap's advice and wrote the book. I published it too, and you never guess what happened. It sold like hand tip at the Meowville movie theater. This book is already the bestseller list in the New City. Now this is what I call a real treasure. Shouted my cousin, waving his check in the air. I figured it was only right to give him some money for the book. After all, he was a part of the adventure. This was mostly a annoying part. To celebrate my success, I invited Silkith, a very pretty lady friend of mine, to the Tennis Top Club. I wouldn't put the book down, you know. I never knew you were so brave, whispered Silkith in my ear. I was beginning to think that our adventure might be worth it after all. Hello, Jerry. At the crack of the dawn one morning, I got a call from Thea. Jerry, you're in for an unbelievable piece of news. Guess what I discovered today, she squeaked. How on earth would I know? I grumbled, crawling back into the bed with the phone. Another map. You know what I'm talking about? My sister insisted. No, I don't. What are you talking about? What map? The same as last time. Do you remember the mouse house? Cheddar ravioli? Extra spicy sauce? Don't make me say anymore. She demanded. It sounded mysterious. Mouse house, cheddar ravioli, extra spicy sauce. Another map. Threw back the covers and jumped out of the bed. This could mean only one thing. My crazy sister was planning another trip. Oh no, not this time. I shrieked into the phone. Not on your life. Don't have a boyfriend. You don't have a boyfriend now? Why don't you ask him to go with you? Who? All the big ears? I got rid of him like moldy cheese, she giggled. Well, let's talk about some more serious matters. You wouldn't tell me to go on my own, would you? You're my older brother, after all. Where is your sense of duty? It could be a very dangerous journey. Hello, Jerry. Jerry, are you still there? Jerry, 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 squeaked Thea. Don't call me Jerry. I wanted to say my name is Geronimo Stilton, but I had no strength left. I put the receiver down on my nightstand. I already knew where this was going to lead.